Now, Dr. Simms, given what we've already talked about, the one thing that we sort of left out here so far is the Fed. Because people start looking at the Fed when things get bad. What are you going to do? Are you going to lower interest rates? Are you going to hold fast? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And you've got to imagine there's going to be a certain amount of political pressure in the next 8 months to a year if things haven't changed for the Fed to do something. You see that happening? Dr. Simms? Okay.
I mean, in terms of is the Fed going to raise interest rates?
Would the Fed lower interest rates or continue to keep it? Do you foresee them lowering interest rates, or at least at the very least holding fast on the interest rates that are in place right now?
I don't think they can lower them much more than they are now. They're pretty low. So I would say that what the tendency to believe right now is that they'll hold steady based on what they've been doing, that they'll hold steady for a while. What happens next year, I don't know. I think it will depend on what they sense in terms of the recovery, whether it's whether it's robust, in which case they may start to raise interest rates as a way of holding down inflation. I think that some of the other interesting questions around the Fed is whether or not the Congress will be interested in trying to move ahead with controls on what the Fed does. There's some moves right now to be involved in the Fed's banking oversight and some other aspects of their regulatory regime. That's perhaps the more different and some would say more controversial aspects about the Fed.
Let's take back to the White House for a moment. The president has been feeling a certain amount, or a great deal of criticism, because it seems there's perception in the general public, certainly among independents, that no action is being taken. This is sort of being allowed to happen. Is that a fair criticism?
I'm sorry.
That the Obama administration, given all that's on its plate, is not taking enough proactive measures to stem the tide of this economy from sliding further down the toilet.
Well, I guess there's a question. I mean, some would say if he were to act, that's too much action, and some are saying it's too slow. I think the question is, if he's to act, what makes the most sense at this point? There probably will be something that he will do, whether, the stimulus package that was passed in the spring has a sort of long rollout because much of the money goes to states or to stick with options for them to pick up. For example, one aspect of the stimulus package was for states to use some funds for assisting low-income people who might have otherwise been on welfare. And there are several options, but the states have to act. Other aspects of construction, the green jobs training, all of those are not the federal government going out and actually doing all this. But in many cases, there are monies to be made available to states and to localities to do things. That has taken time. It's taken a lot of time. And I think one of the questions is, will now that money is starting to actually hit the ground, and in many cases, if you go around some communities, you'll literally see hitting the ground in terms of road repaving, other kinds of things like that. Whether and how much additional funds will be needed to get the economy moving a little faster. I think there are some, there's some debate. Is this the right amount of time and waited? Should there be something else going on at the same time? Is there something the Fed should be doing directly that don't involve the states who have to take their own actions to participate? There's some legitimate questions there, but the question of what's the timing for another action is really hard to say.
All right, Ned, you get final thoughts from you, Ned?
Yeah, the problem with Obama's policy is not the lack of action or amount of action, it's the wrong action. It's the billing out of failed businesses, the billing out of GM, the billing out of the banking sector. I mentioned the money is going to the middleman, going to business. ABCs or strategies. You invest in stars in your own industry. You don't invest in your business. What Obama's policy is doing is only laying the problem. They are not correcting it. So it means you have to pay through the taxes or inflation tax, eventually a higher price. That's the fault.
And the article can be found in CEO Quarterly magazine. Can you give me the website for that for our listeners?
CEOquarterly.com.
CEOquarterly.com.
That's right.
Excellent. Dr. Simms, your contact can be found on HuffingtonPost.com. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts with me and with those listening on the mill. And I'll probably be calling on you soon as this crisis is likely to be for a while. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.